what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raity's Rise. We're back here at Moss Nissan in Newport Richey, Florida, and guess what? I have that one car that really did a lot for Nissan. It's this vehicle right here. This is it. This is a 2026 Nissan Z, and this one is a Z Performance spec. But before we get into the legendary sports car from Nissan, let's talk about what's going on here. So if you know your history, you would know that back in 1970, that was the official birth of the 240Z. Now here in the United States, it was known as Datsun, not Nissan right away. They actually chose the Datsun name to kind of be like a value leader for Nissan. Eventually they dropped the Datsun name and they just stuck with Nissan globally. Now fast forward to model year 2026, the legend continues. And it's interesting because I feel like at first there weren't many people really giving respect to this car like there should have been. But now when you see what the competition is doing, not only with taking certain models away, but also adding a lot of extra money to the MSRP. So what I want to find out is, if you're looking for a rear-wheel drive performance car, you maybe want a manual, or maybe you'll go automatic, and you want it to have some good power, do you go Nissan Z over the tried and true Mustang GT? Let's go ahead, let's dive in and find out which is the more affordable way to get your kicks on Route 66. Right off the bat, I love the color combo. When you go performance spec, that is where it's gonna allow you to bring the two-tone into play. So I love the way our particular one has the white with the black, and it gives it that storm trooper look to it. And if you're into Star Wars and you're not a Star Trek fan, then this is definitely the Z for you. Now the front of the business on the 2026, you're still getting that very unique shape to the headlight design. I like the way they shaped it because it's meant to kind of have some touches from the past, and they did that very well, not only with the shape, but also with what's going on in the inside. You have LED daytime running lamps, LED turn signals, and LED headlights. And the fact that everything is nice and smooth, nothing stuck on, really makes me feel good. I sleep better at night because guess what? On a Mustang GT, there are some fake vents. The one thing I gotta zonk is this. What is this? It's like a piece of the body that extends out. Not really my favorite. So I wish they would have done maybe some lighting or something. But that is my one major zonk on the corner. Now, as we come across that front grille area, very interesting how they did this oval, elongated oval, rounded rectangle shape, gunmetal metallic gray, and then you have your flat black, more traditional style to the lower portion of the grille. But I think it was so smart to have that massive splitter all blended in nicely together. The Z is a true sports car. What I mean by that, it's a two-door, two-seat sports car, whereas the Mustang GT is a little different because you have 4 seats and the car is larger. It also weighs more. So that's going to be interesting to see which way you want to go with your hard-earned money. But even though that rectangle grille shape isn't everybody's favorite, I still think it plays well. And for 2027 model year, stay tuned. We're going to be bringing you the refresh version of the Z. So that'll be a nice thing to do as well. But let me know what you think about the face of this particular one. Now, as we rise up, you got your Nissan badge, that gunmetal gray finish with some white. Works well with our white Z. And then the way that they have that nice little peak that goes into the plateau of the hood, that is a direct connection, just like the lights, back to the original 240. Now when we come around the bend, because this is a Z Performance spec, you are getting the better wheels. These are Ray's forged wheels, and if you don't believe them, they actually put the name forged in it. Nice split spoke V-shaped design to it, and then you'll notice that you have your Akabano 4-piston calipers with the Nissan name, nice bright red finish. Rotors are going to be a little over 14 inches at all 4 corners. And then of course they reworked the suspension. This is a 19-inch wheel. Tire up front is 255 on the width, 40 series sidewall. And like I said, Z Performance does have a little bit different spec suspension than the standard Z Sport. And then of course you could always go Z Nismo. But definitely love the style and the fact that these are Rays. If you know your JDM wheel companies, Rays is one of the best. And it's spelled R-A-Y-S. You can see that right here, Rays Engineering. But nicely done with the gunmetal gray with our white. Coming down the side, you got the two-tone. It starts not only on your mirror caps with your turn signals built in, but also on that nice, sleek, fastback design of a roof. I always thought that this was weird, but then I understand it now. This is meant to be like a katana blade off a samurai sword. Really digging how that separates, separates the two-tone. They did a great job on the door handles compared to the previous gens, and I love the way you have that nice side sill extension that works into the body. Can't forget the Z badge. It's so historic, but it's also in a location on the rear pillar, just like the original, the OG. And then dropping it like it's hot, you do have Akobano calipers all 4 corners, raised wheels, of course, and you're gonna get a little bit more rubber to meet the road on this 19-inch wheel. It's a 275 on the rear and a 35 series sidewall. Mechanical limited slip diff on the performance spec, and you can get a manual or an automatic. The cool thing is if you get a manual, not only will you be my best friend, because I really love manual transmissions, especially in sports cars, but you also get a carbon fiber drive shaft. That's pretty cool. Now spinning around the back, that shape is just so timeless. This will age so well. You'll notice how the black comes onto the rear hatchback area, the rear liftback. Performance spec gets a larger spoiler, because you don't even get a spoiler on the sport trim. Not as big as on the Z Nismo though. And then one of my favorite touches from the Z32 Nissan Z, that's how they styled the taillights, all LED. You got the Z badge, and then working the way down to ground level, you have your dual outlet exhaust, nice slash cut with some decorative circles cut into the tailpipe, and it's gonna give our V6 twin turbo a little bit of burble. See what I did there? Turbo, burble, kind of matches. And then a nice looking rear diffuser area. But why don't we go ahead, we talk about the outside, comparing it to the Mustang GT. Let's go pop the hood and talk about HPs. All right guys, we got the hood popped. I'm just gonna let the cat out of the bag now. I may take away your fun. This does not have as much horsepower as the Mustang GT. Let's just get that out of the way right now. But is that necessarily a bad thing? And is that necessarily something that should tell you to just go buy a Mustang GT? Why don't I give you the details? First of all, you do have a prop rod. I am gonna zonk it. It should have hood struts. But what I'm definitely not gonna zonk is that beefy strut tower brace. Good looking engine cover, and of course the words twin turbo. So no V8 in a Nissan Z. There's never been a V8 in a production Nissan Z, but what we do have is that 3-liter twin turbo V6. Now, in a Mustang GT, you do have the 5-liter V8. It does pump out 460 horsepower standard, and of course, if you go with the catback exhaust, it gives you 486 horsepower. This though has 400 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque. You could get your 6-speed manual, you could get your 6-speed automatic. 0 to 60 in about 3.9 seconds, quarter mile in 12.7 at 113 miles an hour. Top speed is governed to 155 miles per hour. MPGs around 19 in the city, 26 on the highway. And here's the kicker. The car weighs 3,500 pounds. Now, even though this is lacking horsepower and torque compared to the Mustang GT, it's about 600 pounds lighter. That's a big difference. And that's gonna equate to a more dynamic driving experience. So something to weigh. But why don't we go ahead? We got this Nissan Z, we got twin turbos. Let's fire it up and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we are in it. Remember, this is the only Japanese sports car, when you think about it, in this price point, because the Supra, the Mark V Supra, is dead. D-E-A-D, dead. So that's why I wanted to compare this to the Mustang GT, because the Mustang has been in production since 1964 and a half, and it's never stopped, which is crazy. The other crazy thing is pricing. Now, obviously, it all comes down to how you spec it, and a Mustang does allow a little bit more flexing when it comes to the options compared to this car, but I think this will give you a good idea. MSRP for this particular vehicle, you're looking right at $56,000. Now, if you were to compare a similar spec of a Mustang GT, I could tell you right now that the price is going to be 60 grand plus. So don't tell me in the comment section, oh, my brother, his sister's mailman bought one last year, got a base for $48,000. I'm not talking about a base. I'm talking about even Stevens here, comparing apples to apples. But I don't have any apples on me, but I do have a Nissan Z. So let's see what it's all about. To the door panels. I do love the door panel. The two-tone really sets it off. The nice red with the red stitching, the Alcantara material, the soft touch, the dark gunmetal gray on your door handle to open up the door. You have a Bose sound system and a door pocket that's a decent size. You can get 4, I would say, Costco hot dogs in there and a nice can of Pepsi to wash it down. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, the two-tone looks great. Even on the sides here, it's all soft touch. What is this? You got a 12 volt, which is nice. Runner radar detector. It'll save your bacon. Slide on in up top. I love how we have the triple gauges. Analog, old school. Windshield wipers work. You do have your boost gauge. Turbo speed, which is unneeded. That should be like oil pressure or something, and then a voltmeter. But I still love the look and the fact that it goes back to 1970. Nicely styled AC vents, very similar to how they styled the vents for the grille up front, if you notice, because it's got the gunmetal gray with the flat black. 9-inch infotainment system. Now, yes, the Mustang has the larger screen, but if you notice, it's nicely integrated on the Z. It's not a big billboard stuck on atrocious looking thing. I like the way that it's nice and inward. The one thing I don't like is you don't get any kind of performance pages or anything like that. So this is your standard controls, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. You got your camera that you could set up, but there's no performance pages like you find the Mustang. Down below, you got your old school way of doing the AC, blower fan, temperature, and where do you want it to blow? Right on my face. USB-C, USB-A. This, you would think, is a wireless charging pad. It's not, and that's a zonk. But the good news is you could put 4 Twinkies down there. So, can't have it all, I guess. D-mode selector, I'll show you that when you come to the business side. There's your start-stop button for the twin-turbo V6. And this weird-looking shifter, probably one of the weirdest shifters I've ever seen in my life, is going to control the 9-speed automatic. It's an electric shifter for the 9-speed automatic. Mustang gets a 10-speed automatic. You do have 2 stages of heated seats, no ventilated seats, your trunk release, good old-fashioned mechanical e-brake, 1 small cup holder with the Noah's Ark version of the key fob. I love that. The good news is it's small, so it's not going to poke you right in your junk. Soft touch on the armrest. Watch this. Whoop. Second cup holder. Whoop. And then you have another 12 volt and some felt lining, so you could put your iPhone 47 Platinum Edition in there and it's not gonna get scratched. Seats, I love them. The nice leather material, the two-tone with the red, the Alcantara, great looking seat. Electric controls, they're not actually on the outside, they're on the inside. So you move forward and backwards, and then that's for the rear of the seat. And I'm actually gonna move the rear of the seat all the way because Lori's gonna show you behind the rear of the seat, you have nice cubby areas. So say you go and you get yourself the latest pair of Jordans, you could put the box in here. These actually open too, where you could keep snacks, keep your files, things like that, pictures of yourself for some reason if you're into. I had a roommate in college named Joey, and he was pretty much in love with himself. He's very narcissistic. He used to have photos of himself everywhere, so I could see him driving around in his Nissan Z with photos of himself. Hey Joey, I'm sure you're watching. Yes, I do sometimes miss you. But why don't you guys come over here, including Joey, come on over here. I want to show you behind the wheel of this Nissan Z. All right guys, business time behind the wheel. I love this dark aluminum sill plate with the Z badge that lights up at night to greet you. Pedal box right out of a race car. Aluminum dead pedal, brake, and throttle. Yes, I wish it had a clutch, but sometimes beggars can't be choosers, man. What am I supposed to do here? You do have manual controls for certain things on the driver's seat, but the rest is full electric. So I kind of appreciate these wheels, even though it's like turning the hands of time, but it allows you to really position the seat perfectly for your body type. I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of room in here. Much more room than a Toyota Supra. Not as much room as a Mustang GT, let's just be honest. Steering wheel though, love it. The leather, you got the metallic flat gray on the switch gear. You do have paddles, they are plastic to go up and down the 9-speed automatic. It's a manual tilting and telescoping wheel. And then I love the dash compared to a Mustang. 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. You have the tach in the center. I could show you the 2 different modes. That's all you got. That's all you need, standard and sport. And then of course, you can scroll through information. Yeah, the G meter, your settings, all that information on the left-hand side, and then you have all the other important gauges on the right-hand side. But we're gonna do it. I'm gonna show you the cargo area since we're comparing both. So let's get back to the tail end of this Nissan Z and how it compares and how is it different. Compare and contrast. That's what we're doing here. Get your Venn diagram out. We're gonna go check out the cargo area and see how much space there is. All right guys, time to get into the cargo area. Very interesting. You would think a 2-door sports car, 2-seat sports car wouldn't have a lot of room, but it actually has a decent amount of space back here. You'll notice that right there is gonna be your rear strut tower brace. I love the way that they have that to not only give it a little bit extra pizzazz, but it's also gonna give it some better handling characteristics. Now, cargo volume, you're looking at right around 8 cubic feet of space. Not as much as a Mustang GT, let's be honest. But still, both are quite usable, and it's one of those things that you're gonna have to make a compromise somewhere. So, one of those things. But we got some space, we got the keys, and we got a twin turbo V6. Let's go for an on-throttle spin and see how she drives. All right guys, we're inside this 2026 Nissan Z Performance. Yes, I apologize that it has an automatic transmission, but this is what was available and I want to bring it to you. There will be more Zs that I'm doing, I promise. But right away, I do have it in sport mode. And what I'm gonna do is you pull back for a second time on that electric shifter, and that's gonna let you shift with the paddles that are behind the wheel. They are plastic, but they are nice and large. Mustang GT has plastic paddles, so and they're not as large as these. So I do like the paddles for the size and the placement. Visibility out the front is great. You really feel like you're in something special, a real sports car. Visibility out the back, the glass is quite a bit slanted, but you still have a good view using the rear view mirror, and the side mirrors are fantastic. Now I know that there are some pieces here on the interior that have been brought over from the previous generation, but they do it in such a good way that I don't think it's super noticeable to the point where you're going to be bothered by it. I really think it makes sense how they did the interior in this vehicle, especially with the two-tone. I think that's one of the best things that they did with this Z, is offering a two-tone interior. Seats are comfy, they're definitely supportive, and they're going to hold you in a lot better than the seats in a Mustang GT, unless you go Mustang GT with the Recaros. But if you go Recaros, you're giving up everything. You're giving up any kind of power. You're giving up any type of heated or ventilated seat. I'm a little bummed out, and I am going to zonk that you only have heated seats in here. There should be ventilated seats, at least as an option. But we have that twin turbo V6. It's a 3-liter, and that's why they don't call it a 300ZX twin turbo. They didn't want to go backwards in numbers after having a 350, a 370. They thought people would be confused. And even though it has 400 horsepower, you can't call it a 400Z, because same thing. It usually refers to displacement. So I do applaud Nissan with just calling it a Z. That's all it needs to be. They didn't do what a lot of other brands like BMW or Mercedes-Benz. Their numbers and letters mean absolutely nothing when it comes to the engine underneath the hood. Now, the Z Performance and the Z Sport are both a little, you're gonna find that they're a little softer on the suspension settings. The good news is, like I said, you could get yourself a Z Nismo and that takes care of that. But just one thing to think about there. When I come to a complete stop, you have a nice large gear indicator, and you have Formula One style shift lights, which are great. And we're gonna go on throttle from a dead stop. You ready? On throttle, here we go. Nice. On the brakes. Smooth downshifts from the 9-speed. But like I said, you are gonna notice a little bit more body roll, a little bit more nosedive under hard braking, and a little bit more of a nose rise on hard acceleration. There is sound being pumped in through the speakers, which is not my favorite, but it does tend to work fairly well together with what the engine is doing. But steering feedback is great. On throttle. Nice. I do love the way these drive. They are a lot of fun. And because they're so much smaller, or at least smaller, I don't know if it's so much smaller, but smaller than a Mustang GT, it's just so much more flickable, so much more tossable. Really, really nice feeling. Having the power go to the rear wheels, just like day one. No all-wheel drive in a Z. Don't tell me that they need to do that, because it doesn't need to be done like that. And then you have all the great instrumentation in here. I mean, the only thing that's kind of stupid is the turbo speed, but they did make up for it because you do have oil pressure that you can get in the gauge cluster, which is okay. I'd rather have it as an analog gauge though. Getting to the 9-inch infotainment system is very easy, and I'm okay with the manual controls. I wish it was dual climate at least, but I do like the AC controls, even though they're more rudimentary in the Z compared to the Mustang GT, just because I hate accessing everything in a screen. It's just really annoying, to be honest with you. But I'm hoping that this has been a good, quick overall review of the Z car from Nissan. We're gonna get back to Moss Nissan and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, always a good day in so many ways here at Moss Nissan. Definitely got to thank Christian, the rest of the crew, getting us access to this 2026 performance spec of the Nissan Z. Now it's your turn. Let me know what you think. Is the Z car the better sports car than a Mustang GT. I'm not bringing up the dark horse, like I said, not bringing up any other Mustang, specifically the Mustang GT. Let me know down in the comment section how you want to spend your money. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rides family. Gotta thank LGR, she's working the magic, and with Mother Nature throwing her some curveballs, she's been able to knock it out of the park. So thank you, Lori, for being the home run hitter. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.